Okay, Assalamu alaikum students. Let's get started with A2 level physics, October November 2025, paper 4, variant 4, 2 hours का paper. So let's start with it. चलो जी बिस्मिल्लाह रहमान रहीम. Let's see the first question. State Newton's law of gravitation. अच्छा जी, Newton's law of gravitation क्या कहता है? Newton's law of gravitation basically states that the gravitational force is directly proportional to the product of masses and inversely proportional to the square of separation between the masses. तो लिख लो. You can say that the gravitational force, the gravitational force लिख लो या the gravitational force of attraction लिख लो, both of them are correct. Gravitational force. Should I choose a darker? Hmm. चलो एक डार्कर पेन ले लेते हैं. Gravitational force is directly proportional to product of masses and inversely proportional to the square of separation between the masses and inversely proportional to the square of separation between the masses. Simple. Easy peasy. Let's move ahead. A binary star consists of star A which has a mass of 4.210 raised to the power of 30 kg. ठीक है भाई, ये स्टार A है जिसका मास क्या है 4 into 10 raised to the power of 30 kg. And a star B which has a mass of what 2 into 10 raised to the power of 30 kg. Okay. They are separated by a distance of what 3.310 raised to the power of 12. Okay. The stars are both in circular orbit around their common centers of gravity x as shown in figure 1.1. अच्छा जी, stars जो है दोनों circular orbit में. Okay. The radius RB of the orbit of a star B is double the radius of RA of the orbit of star A. So basically, if this is your radius R, this will be your radius 2R. ठीक है, ये double radius है. RB is twice that of RA. Okay. Use Newton's law of gravitation to calculate the magnitude of gravitational force exerted by each star on the other. Gravitational force is equals to capital G, that is the gravitational constant, mass of the first star, mass of the second star, divided by the separation between them squared. What is gravitational constant? 6.6710 raised to the power of minus 11. What is the mass of star A? Star A का mass क्या है भाई? Star A का mass है 4 into 10 raised to the power of 30. So write it here. स्टार बी का मास क्या है बेटा? 2 into 10 is about 30. Okay. And what is the separation between them? What is the separation between them? Distance between them? 3.310 is the power of 12. 3.310 is the power of 12 का square. Can you calculate this answer? ये आंसर निकाल सकते हो? Yes, for sure. 6.6710 is the power of minus 11 into the mass 4 into 10 is the power of 30. 2 into 10 is the power of 30 divided by 3.310 is the power of 12 whole square. This comes out to be what? The gravitational force comes out to be what? 4.89910 raised to the power of 25. If I round it off till two significant figures, 4.910 raised to the power of 25 Newton is your answer. If I round it off till two significant figures, 4.910 is the power of 25 Newton is your answer. Now you have to calculate the centripetal acceleration of star A. Sir, how will we do that? कैसे करेंगे सर? बेटा देखो, स्टार ए पे जो ग्रेविटेशनल फोर्स लग रही है, द ग्रेविटेशनल फोर्स दैट इज एक्टिंग इनवर्ड्स ऑन स्टार ए is equals to what? It is equals to the centripetal force. So you can say the gravitational force on a star A is equals to the centripetal force. What was the value of gravitational force? 4.910 is the power of 25. Simple. How will you write the formula of centripetal force? Mass into centripetal acceleration. बेटा what is the mass of star A? Star A का mass क्या है? 4 into 10 is the power of 30. तो यहाँ पे रख दो. 4.9 10 is the power of 25 is equals to 4 into 10 is the power of 30 is equals to centripetal acceleration. Centripetal acceleration comes out to be what? 4.9 10 is the power of 25 divided by 4 into 10 is the power of 30. Can you calculate the centripetal acceleration? 4.9 10 is the power of 25. 4 into 10 is the power of 30. Centripetal acceleration comes out to be 1.23. 10 raised to the power of minus 5 meters per second square. Always remember, you can give your answers to two significant figures. You can give your answer to three significant figures. There is no one stopping. Acha ji, use your answer in B part 2 to determine the period of the orbit of star A. हमने क्या निकालना है सर? We have to calculate capital T. How will we do that? We know centripetal acceleration is equals to r w square. सर सेंट्रीपिटल एक्सेलरेशन की क्या वैल्यू थी 1.23 10 is the power of minus 5. Okay. What is the value of r? Oh, we don't know the value of r. Sir, r क्या होगा? R will be this. RA. Sir, how to calculate the value of RA? Now, please pay attention. Can you realize this entire distance 3.3 into 10 raised to the power of 12? This entire distance 3.3 10 raised to the power of 12 is equals to what? R plus 2R. 3.3 into 10 raised to the power of 12 equals to 3R. 1.1 10 raised to the power of 12 equals to R. बेटा अगर पूरा डिस्टेंस 3R के इक्वल है बिकॉज RA इज लाइक RB इज ट्वाइस दैट ऑफ RA तो मैंने RA को R से रिप्लेस कर दिया RB को 2R से रिप्लेस कर दिया द कंबाइंड डिस्टेंस R plus 2R is equal to 3.3 10 is the power of 12 1R will be equal to what 1.1 10 is the power of 12 and 1R is equals to RA so let's substitute it in the formula 1.1 10 raised to the power of 12 is equals to W square. Can you humbly calculate this W की value? Yes. 1.23 10 raised to the power of minus 5 divided by 1.1 10 raised to the power of 12 taken under root to calculate the value of W. Let's do that. Let's see what our answer comes out to be. हाँ जी तो आपका आंसर comes out to be 3.34 10 raised to the power of minus 9. In place of W, you will write what? 2 pi over capital T. Can you calculate the time period? Yes, 2 pi divided by 3.34 10 raised to the power of minus 9. Calculate करो बेटा क्या आंसर आता है? ओहो, this answer comes out to be 1.88 10 raised to the power of 9 seconds. 1.8810 is the power of 9 seconds. Correct to 3 significant figures is your answer. अगर आपने 2 significant figures पे लिखना है आप 2 significant figures पे भी लिख सकते हो. Simple. Let's further move ahead. By placing a tick in each row, complete table 1.1 to show how the quantities indicated for a star B compare with the same quantities for a star A. अच्छा जी star A और star B की quantities किस तरह compare होती हैं? We have to tell that. Acha, what about centripetal acceleration? Do you remember the formula? Centripetal force is equals to mass into centripetal acceleration. The centripetal force the centripetal force on star A and star B is constant, है ना? The centripetal force on star A and star B is constant. What can you do? क्या कर सकते हो आप? If the centripetal force on star A and star B is constant, what can you do? You can realize that mass becomes inversely proportional to centripetal acceleration. Now, if you realize, अगर आप थोड़ा सा realize करो, and if you remember, I remember, mass of star A का mass is greater than star B का mass. The mass of star A is greater than the mass of star B. अगर आपका मास ग्रेटर है that means the centripetal acceleration of star A will be less than the centripetal acceleration of star B. So any answers like that? Any answers like that? Okay, centripetal acceleration of B is greater than that of A. This. Now, sir, what about linear speed that is V? बेटा लीनियर स्पीड का फॉर्मूला याद है आपको? डू यू रिमेंबर द फॉर्मूला ऑफ लीनियर स्पीड? V इज इक्वल टू आर W. Can you realize W for both A and B is same? The W for star A, W for star B is same. Velocity becomes directly proportional to radius. Velocity becomes directly proportional to the radius of the orbit. Can you realize? क्या आप humbly realize कर सकते हो कि star B has a larger radius? Star B has a larger radius, larger r. Hence, star B will have a larger linear velocity. So you can also write it here since the radius of star B is greater than the radius of star A. Radius of orbit की बात हो रही है. Hence, the velocity of V will be greater than the velocity of A. Tick mark. Now, sir, what about the time period? The time period for both of them is equal. The time period for both of them is equal. B is equal to A. You take this out. Simple. Now let's further move ahead. हाँ जी इधर आ जाओ. चलो let's see this. The equation for an ideal gas can be expressed like this. State the meaning of each of the symbol in this equation. P का मतलब क्या है? Pressure. Now I am trying to write neat and clean because I have gotten complaints in the comment section कि सर आप neatly लिखा करें. चलो neatly लिख देते हैं. P is the pressure of the gas. V is what? Volume of the gas. What is capital N? Capital N क्या है बेटा? हाँ जी, what is capital N? Capital N is the number of molecules. Number of molecules. What is K? K याद है क्या होता था? Do you remember K क्या होता था? Boltzmann constant. Boltzmann constant. And any genius in the chat who remembers the value of Boltzmann constant? Yes, किसी को याद है बोल्ट्जमैन कांस्टेंट की वैल्यू 1.38 10 रेज़ टू पावर ऑफ -23. ये आपके डेटा बुकलेट में भी गिवन होता है. 1 second, let me show you. ये रहा बोल्ट्जमैन कांस्टेंट. ओके, so what is T? T is thermodynamic temperature. Simple. Let's further move ahead. Use the equation of a state to derive an expression for the average transitional kinetic energy of a particle in terms of sum or all of nkt. बेटा हमने पढ़ा है कि PV या प्रेशर इनटू वॉल्यूम इज इक्वल टू 1/3 nmc square. This is the first equation that we have studied. We have also studied that pressure into volume is equal to NKT. Can you realize we can equate both of these equations? यहाँ पे PV is equal to 1 over 3 NMCU square. यहाँ पे PV is equal to NKT. Equate both of them. You will say 1 over 3 NMCU square NKT. Cancel, cancel. MC square is equal to 3KT. काइनेटिक एनर्जी का फॉर्मूला क्या होता था? डू यू रिमेंबर ऑन द बैक ऑफ योर माइंड? काइनेटिक एनर्जी का क्या फॉर्मूला होता था? 1/2 mv square. You have velocity का square, you have m. What can you do further? You can say divide both sides by 2. Divide both sides by 2. 1/2 m cu square 3 over 2 kt. This entire thing will be equal to what? ये पूरी चीज किसके इक्वल हो जाएगी? Kinetic energy is equals to 3 over 2 kt. You have successfully derived the formula. Simple. आगे पढ़ते हैं बेटा, चलो. A molecule of hydrogen gas consists of two hydrogen atoms. Each has a nucleon number of 1. Okay. A molecule of oxygen gas contains two oxygen atoms. Each has a nucleon number of 16. Perfect. Assume that hydrogen and oxygen both behave as ideal gases. A sample of hydrogen is at the same temperature as the sample of oxygen. ठीक है भाई. For the two samples, determine the ratio of root mean square speed of hydrogen molecules divided by root mean square speed of oxygen molecules. Let me tell you an easy way to do this question. आपने partitions बना लेने. Hydrogen and oxygen. Okay. Beta, both of them have the same temperature T. T. The total mass of hydrogen molecule क्या हो जाएगा? 1 plus 1, that is 2. The total mass of oxygen molecule क्या हो जाएगा? 16 plus 16, that is 32. Okay, let's do the calculations now. Kinetic energy is equals to half m c square. काइनेटिक एनर्जी का दूसरा फॉर्मूला क्या होता था? 3/2 kT. हाफ m c square. हाफ हाफ कैंसिल आउट. 3 kT divided by m is equals to c square. Beta, now you don't want the value of c square. You want root mean square speed. Root mean square speed क्या होता था? Under root of c square is equals to root mean square speed. Now just focus on the board carefully. 3 ऐसे ही रहेगा. K is also a constant, temperature is a constant, mass is 2 is equals to c square of hydrogen. I have placed a small h here. Take under root. Take square roots on both sides. 3 kT divided by 2 is equals to CRMS of hydrogen. अब सर आपने अंडर रूट क्यों लिया है? बिकॉज बेटा ऑलवेज रिमेंबर दैट स्क्वायर रूट ऑफ सी स्क्वायर इज इक्वल टू CRMS. लेट मी राइट इट हियर एज वेल. You will say take square root on both sides. ठीक है, स्क्वायर रूट्स ऑन बोथ साइड ले लिया और यहाँ पे लिख लो सी स्क्वायर अंडर रूट इज इक्वल टू CRMS. ओके, डू द सेम थिंग विद ऑक्सीजन. ऑक्सीजन के साथ भी सेम चीज करो. काइनेटिक एनर्जी half m c square. Perfect. 3/2 kT is equals to half m c square. Now you can speed up the process. Since you have done this already, you can speed up the process. You can say c square is equals to 3 kT/m. CRMS is equals to 3 kT/m under root. What is the mass of oxygen? 32. So CRMS of oxygen equals to what? 3 kT/32. ये आपका CRMS of oxygen आ गया. And this is your CRMS of hydrogen. What do you have to calculate? Hydrogen divided by oxygen ka CRMS. You have to take the CRMS of hydrogen. That is 3 kT divided by 2. This is the CRMS of hydrogen. Take this value. Divide by what? CRMS of oxygen. Oxygen का CRMS क्या है भाई? 3 kT divided by 32. Now, if you humbly realize things are about to get easy for you, ठीक है, ये आपके लिए easy हो जाएंगी. कैसे 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 से सुनो सुनो जरा सा सुनो. What you can do right now is you can say 3 kT divided by 2. This sign can be replaced by division. डिवीजन को हटाओ, मल्टीप्लिकेशन का साइन आ जाएगा. मल्टीप्लाइड बाय 32 3 kT. बोथ हैव एन अंडर रूट, तो सिंगल रूट को कर दो. If both values have an under root, you can collectively take them inside one root. Oh wow, 3 kT cancel out. 1, 16, under root of 16, 4 is your answer. This is how you do this calculation in a simple way. There is a complicated way to do this as well, but this is the most simple way. ठीक है, चलो, let's see this. With reference to molecular kinetic energy and molecular potential energy, explain what is meant by internal energy of an ideal gas. बेटा, internal energy of an ideal gas क्या होती है? The total kinetic energy of the molecules in random motion is equals to the internal energy of the gas. Is equals to the internal energy of the ideal gas. क्योंकि ideal gas में potential energy क्या होती है? Zero. So you will write that total kinetic energy of gas molecules is equal to the internal energy of an ideal gas as potential energy of an ideal gas is zero. Simple. आगे बढ़ते हैं. A sample of ideal gas is initially at a pressure of 2 into 10 raised to the power 5 and at a volume of 0.016 by pressure or volume आपको given है. Okay. In state A, the gas is at a temperature of 400 Kelvin. सही है भाई, state A में आपकी गैस क्या है? 400 Kelvin पे. ठीक है. The gas undergoes two successive changes x y. Okay. In change x क्या हो रहा है? Let's see. In change x, the gas is heated at constant volume. Always remember, whenever the gas is heated at constant volume, pressure becomes directly proportional to temperature. चलो जी आगे देखते हैं. To a pressure of 4 into 10 raised to the power of 5. At the end of the change x, the gas is in state B. Okay, can we mark state B? Constant volume पे आप heat कर रहे हो and you are going to a pressure of 4. Volume remains constant. I think this is state B. Yeah. I don't think उन्होंने mark करने का कहा है, but I have just done it for my purposes. ठीक है. in change y, it is then allowed to expand at constant temperature. Always remember, if your temperature is constant, what does this mean? बेटा जब भी temperature constant होगा तो what will this mean? Pressure will become inversely proportional to volume. Okay. To its original pressure at the end of change y, the gas is in state C. ठीक हो गया. Determine the internal energy of the gas in state A. अच्छा. We have to determine the internal energy of the gas in state A. Do you humbly remember that internal energy of an ideal gas is equals to kinetic energy? Yes, sir. काइनेटिक एनर्जी किसके इक्वल हुआ करती थी 3/2 kT, बट दिस इज ओनली फॉर वन मॉलिक्यूल. Beta, this is only for one molecule. You have to calculate the kinetic energy for the entire gas or the internal energy for the entire gas multiplied by n. Internal energy comes out to be what? 3/2. Total number of molecules ntk. Yeah, nkt. Now the next problem is that you don't have this value of nkt. बेटा आपके पास nkt की वैल्यू नहीं है, अब क्या करेंगे? Do you remember this formula? Pressure into volume is equals to nkt. In place of nkt, you can say internal energy is equals to 3/2 pressure into volume. What is the pressure at state x? State x में pressure क्या है? 2 into 10 raised to the power of 5. Write it here. What is the volume at state x? 0.16. Can you calculate the answer of internal energy? बेटा internal energy का आंसर निकाल लोगे? The answer of internal energy comes out to be 4800 joules. Okay. Now you have to determine the temperature of the gas in a state B. Easy peasy. You have to determine the temperature of the gas at the state B. How will you do that? Can you realize A पे temperature क्या था? The temperature at A is 400 kelvins. Okay. Now, please realize, please realize. As you are going from A to B, you are moving at constant volume. जब भी आप constant volume पे move कर रहे होते हो, pressure becomes directly proportional to temperature. What is the pressure at point A? What is the pressure at point A? 2 into 10 is the power of 5. What is the pressure at point B? 4 into 10 is the power of 5. So, if you analyze, pressure क्या हो गया? Pressure has doubled. The temperature at A was 200 Kelvin. What will happen to the temperature at B? It will also double. Oh, sorry. The temperature at A was 400, right? The temperature at A was 400. It will double. It will become 800 Kelvin. Simple as that. Nothing complicated here. Determine the volume of the gas in state C. अब state C में आपने volume of the gas determine करना है. Can you realize? As we move towards state C, we are moving at constant temperature. जब भी आपका temperature constant होता है, pressure becomes inversely proportional to volume. This is what? Boyle's law. Boyle's law क्या कहता था? Pressure P1 V1 is equals to pressure P2 V2. Do you have the pressure? Acha, how will we change this according to our scenario? Pressure at state B into the volume at state B multiplied by the pressure at state C multiplied by the volume at state C. बेटा अगर आप देखो तो बी पे आपका प्रेशर क्या है 4 into 10 इज द पावर ऑफ 5. बी पे वॉल्यूम क्या है 0.16. तो 4 into 10 इज द पावर ऑफ 5 0.16. व्हाट इज द प्रेशर एट सी? इट रिटर्न्स टू इट्स ओरिजिनल प्रेशर. प्रेशर क्या हो गया 2 into 10 is the power of 5 multiplied by the volume at C. Can you calculate the volume at C? 0.32. तो बेटा सी जो है वो यहाँ पे होगा कहीं, at a volume of 0.32 and at the same pressure. This is point 0.3. Simple. Okay. Should I bring this working here? चलो मैं ले आता हूँ. Just for the sake of it, let's do it. एक एक मार्क के सवाल थे, literally very easy. Let's see what is the examiner saying next. अच्छा. On figure 3.1, draw two lines, one to represent change x and one to represent change y. Label your lines x and y. चलो जी ये भी कर देते हैं. We have already marked the points. बस लाइन ड्रॉ करनी है बेटा. Let's choose a color. Yeah, this is x, and let's say this is y. Simple. Easy peasy, nothing complicated here. If you have any questions, ask right away. चलो आगे बढ़ते हैं. State what is meant by the frequency of oscillation of an oscillating object. बेटा frequency of oscillation का मतलब क्या होता है? Number of oscillations per unit time. Frequency of oscillations का मतलब क्या होता है? Number of oscillations per unit time. Simple as that. Nothing complicated here. An object is oscillating. Figure 4.1 shows the variation of acceleration of the object with its displacement x from the equilibrium position. Okay. Figure 4.2 shows the variation of the kinetic energy of the object with time t. Okay. Explain how figure 4.2 shows that the period of the oscillation is 0.8 seconds. बेटा हमने फिगर 4.2 को यूज करके बताना है हाउ इज द पीरियड ऑफ द ऑसिलेशन 0.8 सेकंड. वेरी इजी. कैन यू रियलाइज काइनेटिक एनर्जी बिकम्स मैक्सिमम ट्वाइस इन वन ऑसिलेशन. बेटा काइनेटिक एनर्जी मैक्सिमम होती है दो दफा इन वन ऑसिलेशन एंड इट इज ओनली हैपनिंग आफ्टर 0.8 सेकंड. सो यू कैन से काइनेटिक एनर्जी becomes maximum or reaches maximum value, becomes maximum twice during one oscillation. Simple as that. Calculate the angular frequency of the oscillation. Angular frequency W निकालना है. How will you do that? W is equals to 2 pi over capital T. बेटा टाइम पीरियड की वैल्यू क्या है? 0.8. डिवाइड करो. What does your value of W comes out to be? हाँ जी. W comes out to be 7.85 radians per second. Simple, nothing complicated here. You can round it off till two significant figures as well. Apart from the time period, frequency, and angular frequency of the oscillation, determine three other conclusions about the object and its oscillation that can be drawn from figure 4.1 and 4.2. द कंक्लूजन्स कैन बी क्वांटिटेटिव और क्वालिटेटिव. हमेशा ये बात बताई है कि क्वालिटेटिव कंक्लूजन्स का मतलब क्या होता है? थ्योरी बेस्ड. क्वांटिटेटिव कंक्लूजन्स का मतलब क्या होता है? नंबर्स बेस्ड. यूज द स्पेस बिलो फॉर एनी वर्किंग. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, कैन यू रियलाइज एक्सेलरेशन is directly proportional to x and this graph has a negative gradient. बेटा एक्सेलरेशन एंड डिस्प्लेसमेंट एक दूसरे के डायरेक्टली प्रोपोर्शनल हैं और ऑपोजिट डायरेक्शन में है. व्हाट डज दिस टेल यू अबाउट द मोशन? दिस टेल्स यू दैट द ऑसिलेशंस आर सिंपल हार्मोनिक. यू कैन से द ग्राफ ऑफ फिगर 4.1 passes through origin and has a negative gradient. Negative gradient indicating the motion of the object is simple harmonic, indicating that the motion of the object is simple harmonic. Okay, what else can we write? If you realize you can also calculate the amplitude. This thing is your amplitude. ये क्या होगा? This is 0. This will become 0.01, 0.12, 0.14. This will become 0.16. You can say the amplitude. The amplitude of oscillations is 0.16 meters. बेटा एम्पलीट्यूड ऑफ ऑसिलेशन क्या है? ओ सॉरी माय बैड. द एम्पलीट्यूड ऑफ ऑसिलेशन एक एक मैं जीरो खा गया, मुझे बहुत भूख लग रही है. ठीक है. द एम्पलीट्यूड ऑफ ऑसिलेशन इज व्हाट? 0.016. 0.016 होगा. ठीक है. सो या द एम्पलीट्यूड ऑफ ऑसिलेशन इज 0.016. बेटा इफ यू रियलाइज आप एक यहाँ पे काम कर सकते हो. Do you remember this formula? Maximum speed is equals to amplitude into angular velocity. You have the amplitude 0.016 multiplied by the angular velocity, that is 7.85. Can you calculate the maximum speed? Maximum speed निकाल सकते हो. The maximum speed comes out to be what? 0.126. This is your maximum speed. You can say the maximum speed of the object is 0.126, correct to three significant figures. The maximum speed of the object is 0.126 meters per second. You can also write it correct to two significant figures, 0.13 meters per second. Describe the interchange between kinetic energy and potential energy during the oscillations. Numerical values are not required. You will say what? At the mean position, zero displacement, the kinetic energy of the oscillations is maximum and potential energy is zero. However, at the extreme position, that is maximum displacement, the kinetic energy is zero and potential energy is maximum. Simple. What will you further say? Throughout the journey, the sum of kinetic plus potential energy remains constant. Simple. आगे बढ़ते हैं बेटा. Explain why the electric potential near an isolated proton is positive. हमने बताना है why is the electric potential near an isolated proton positive. Very very easy. First of all, you will say फर्स्ट पॉइंट आप क्या लिखोगे बेटा यहाँ पे? यू डोंट हैव टू राइट इट इन बुलेट पॉइंट्स. मैं सिर्फ बता रहा हूँ हाउ विल यू गेट ऑल द थ्री नंबर्स हियर, हाउ विल यू स्कोर 3 on 3 हियर. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल यू विल से द इलेक्ट्रिक पोटेंशियल इज जीरो एट इंफिनिटी. यू विल से इलेक्ट्रिक potential is zero at infinity. Secondly, आप क्या कहोगे? What will be the second point that you will write here? You will say the proton has a positive charge, hence it repels an other positive charge. यहाँ पे आप second point क्या लिखोगे? Acha, let me remove the bullet points. I think students get confused through this. The second point that you will write here, proton has a positive charge, positive charge. Hence, it will repel other positive charges, the other positive charges. Hence, hence, what is the final statement? Hence, work must be done on the two positive charges to move them towards each other. Hence, work must be done on the two positive charges to bring them close to each other. Simple, आगे बढ़ते हैं. An isolated metal sphere is positively charged and has a radius of capital R as shown in figure 5.1. ठीक है. Line XY, ठीक है, line XY passes through the center of the sphere. Okay. Line P lies on, yes, सही है, point P lies on XY. ठीक है, point P lie कर रहा है on XY at a variable distance x. Okay, from the center of the sphere. Okay. Point Q is at a fixed position that is not on line XY. अच्छा, यहाँ पे point Q है, that is not on line XY. Okay. The electric field strength at the surface of a sphere is E naught. यहाँ पे electric field strength at the surface of the sphere is E naught. Perfect. On figure 5.1, draw an arrow at point Q to show the direction of electric field at point Q. बेटा हमेशा याद रखो पॉजिटिव चार्जेस से फील्ड लाइंस निकल रही होती हैं. So the direction of field line at point Q will be like this. Simple. Let's further move ahead. On figure 5.2, sketch the variation of electric field strength at point P with x for the values of x between x is equals to minus 3r and x is equals to 3r. Do not include regions inside the sphere. अच्छा जी, हमने regions inside the sphere include नहीं करना. First of all, do you remember the formula of electric field strength? Electric field strength is equals to Q over 4 pi E naught R square. Can you humbly realize Q divided by 4 pi E naught was a constant value? Electric field strength becomes inversely proportional to R square. है ना, इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड स्ट्रेंथ किसके इक्वल हो जाती थी? इनवर्सली प्रोपोर्शनल टू आर स्क्वायर. नाउ इफ यू फर्दर रियलाइज, अगर आप थोड़ा सा रियलाइज करो, थोड़ा सा रियलाइज करो, what is happening here? Electric field strength is becoming inversely proportional to r square. At a value of r, you have an electric field strength of E naught. But as your r doubles, the electric field strength will become 1/4. Now, sir, how to locate 1/4 of electric field strength? This is half. Half के middle में चले जाओगे here. This is E over 4. Just take these 2 points and draw a curve between them. Like this. Similarly, do it on this side. At a value of negative R, you have an electric field strength of negative E naught. At a value of negative 2R, you have an electric field strength of what? Negative E naught over 4. Here, combine the 2 points. Like this. Simple. You can make a much, much better curve than me. I am very, very bad at drawing. Basically, connect the 2 points using a curve. इस तरह से. Simple. The proton and electron in a hydrogen atom are separated by a distance of this, ये आ गया R. Calculate the electrical potential energy. Do you remember the formula of electrical potential energy? Electrical potential energy का formula used to be Q1, Q2, 4 pi E naught R. What is the charge on a proton? 1.6 10 raised to the power of minus 19. What is the charge on an electron? Minus 1.6 10 raised to the power of minus 19 divided by 4 pi. What is the value of E naught? 8.85 10 raised to the power of minus 12. What is the value of R? 5.3 10 raised to the power of minus 11. Can you calculate electrical potential energy? The answer of electrical potential energy comes out to be negative 4.3 10 raised to the power of minus 18 joules. Simple as that, nothing complicated. आगे बढ़ते हैं बेटा. Okay. Figure 6.1 shows a bridge rectifier circuit. Actually, you have a bridge rectifier circuit, no problems in that. That can be used for rectification of an alternating input voltage. Okay. The circuit contains four diodes, one of which is shown. अच्छा जी एक diode shown हुआ है. The rectified output voltage is applied across the load resistor capital R. State what is meant by rectification. भाई rectification का मतलब क्या होता है? Conversion of AC current to DC current. Conversion of AC current to DC current is known as full wave rectification. State the name of the type of rectification produced by a bridge rectifier circuit. Full wave rectification. Beta, always remember whenever you have four diodes, there will be full wave rectification. यहाँ पे four diodes की जगह है तो this will be full wave rectification. Complete the circuit in figure 6.1 by drawing three missing diodes inside the dashed circles. Okay, very easy. Always remember a simple key point. The same faces of diode are connected with output terminal. बेटा आउटपुट टर्मिनल के साथ हमेशा आपने सेम फेसेस ऑफ डायोड लगाने हैं. सर व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय दैट? दिस इज एन आउटपुट टर्मिनल. कैन यू रियलाइज आउटपुट टर्मिनल के साथ डायोड का ये ट्रायंगल वाला फेस लगा हुआ है. तो हियर इज वेल यू विल मार्क द डायोड लाइक दिस. Always remember that the output terminal से जो diodes लगे हुए होंगे they will be facing in the same direction. The second key point, the diodes connected to input terminal have opposite faces. Diodes जो कि इनपुट टर्मिनल्स पे कनेक्ट होंगे दे विल हैव ऑपोजिट फेसेस. अब सर इनपुट टर्मिनल कौन सा है? इफ यू रियलाइज दिस इज अ टर्मिनल कनेक्टेड टू इनपुट. यहाँ पे डायोड की एक फेस कनेक्ट हुई हुई है दैट इज द लाइन ऑफ द डायोड. द सेकेंड डायोड विल बी अ डायोड पोजिशन लाइक दिस. एक लाइन एक ट्रायंगल. ऑलवेज रिमेंबर आउटपुट टर्मिनल से हमेशा ऑपोजिट फेसेस ऑफ डायोड कनेक्ट होते हैं. सेम हेयर एज वेल, सेम ऑन दिस टर्मिनल एज वेल. इनपुट टर्मिनल्स पे एक ऑलरेडी डायोड लगा हुआ है विद द लाइन. द अदर डायोड विल बी अ ट्रायंगल. सिंपल. और ट्रायंगल और लाइन से मैं क्यों समझा रहा हूँ? बिकॉज इट इज़ ईजी टू अंडरस्टैंड. ठीक है, इट इज़ ईजी टू अंडरस्टैंड ट्रायंगल और लाइन वाली लैंग्वेज. वरना if you don't understand this language, you want to get sophisticated with this is the positive terminal of the diode, negative terminal of the diode. This is the anode of the diode, this is the cathode of the diode. Make it as complicated as you want. But to keep it simple, output terminal से हमेशा same faces of the diode connect होते हैं. Triangle, triangle. Input terminal से हमेशा opposite faces, line, triangle, line, triangle. You will always get it correctly like this. Okay. Let's see this. The input voltage varies with time according to this equation, where V in is in volts. Show that the period of the input voltage is this. Do you remember alternating voltage का ये formula होता था? What is equals to W? W is equals to 18. 2 pi divided by capital T is equals to 18. Can you calculate the time period? 2 pi divided by 18. What does your time period comes out to be? बच्चे, what does your time period comes out to be? Anyone in the chat? हाँ जी, time period क्या आ जाता है शहजादों? 0.35 second. Now you have to calculate voltage RMS. How will you do that? बेटा आपका peak voltage क्या है? 34. Okay, so write it here. Maximum voltage is 34 volts. Can you calculate VRMS? Yes, VRMS. V naught divided by under root 2. 34 divided by under root 2. Can you calculate this answer? This comes out to be 24 volts. Answer क्या आ गया भाई? 24 volts. आगे बढ़ते हैं. Okay, so now you have to sketch the graph of output voltage. How will you do that? बेटा क्या आपको equation याद है? Input is equals to 34 sine, ऊपर लिखी हुई थी equation, let me take it, sine 18t. Okay. So first of all, it is evident that we will draw a sine curve. We will start from this origin. You have to draw the output voltage ka graph from time t is equals to 0 till 0.35 seconds. That is one time period. Okay. So the time period is 0.35 seconds. Maximum voltage is 34. Perfect. First of all, what we can do is we can divide the time period into four equal halves. 0.35 divided by 4, that is equals to 0.0875. Okay. So if you zoom in a bit, this will be 20, this will be 24, 28, 32, this is 34. And where will 0.0875 lie? Somewhere here. At a value of 0.0875, you have a voltage of 34. Here, at a value of 0.175, somewhere here, you will have a voltage of 0. Here again, you basically what I am doing, can you realize? बेटा मैं जो है 0.087 सेकेंड्स ऐड करता जा रहा हूँ और अपना नेक्स्ट पॉइंट बनाता जा रहा हूँ. 0.0875. Now add further 0.0875. This is 0.02625. Somewhere here. Again, it will have a maximum voltage. And then at 0.35, you will have a voltage of 0. Connect the dots. Like this. बेटा मैंने क्या किया है? What I have done is, first of all, I have identified that output voltage only and only positive होगा. बेटा output voltage सिर्फ और सिर्फ positive होगा. Why? Because this is rectification. And the peak value of output voltage will be 34 as of the input voltage. So I have drawn this graph. Secondly, I have made sure that time period 0.35 था ना, तो I have divided it into 4 equal halves. मैंने time period को 4 equal halves में divide कर दिया. At time of t is equals to 0, your voltage is 0. After 0.0875 seconds, your voltage reach 34. After further 0.0875 seconds, your voltage reaches 0. After further 0.0875 seconds, your voltage again becomes maximum. Further 0.0875 seconds later, at 0.35 seconds, it becomes 0 again. तो इस तरह से सिंपल सा ग्राफ ड्रॉ कर लेना है आपने. अच्छा जी, this looks interesting. क्या लिखा हुआ है? The resistor has a resistance of 56 kilo ohm. Okay. A capacitor of 12 microfarad is connected into the circuit of figure 6.1 in order to smooth the output voltage. Okay. On figure 6.1, draw the capacitor correctly connected to the circuit. Always remember, capacitors are connected in parallel to the resistor. Capacitor हमेशा parallel में लगता है to the resistor like this. ठीक है, ये लग गया. कैपेसिटर सिंबल मार्क भी कर दो C. Okay, what else? Calculate the time constant. Time constant किस तरह आता है? Resistance into capacitance. Resistance is 56 into 10 raised to the power of 3. What is the capacitance? 12 into 10 raised to the power of minus 6. Time constant comes out to be what? हाँ जी, time constant comes out to be 0.67 seconds. Correct to two significant figures. आगे बढ़ते हैं. During each discharge cycle, the time for which the capacitor is discharging is 0.14 seconds. Calculate the minimum voltage of the smoothened out, minimum value of the smoothened output voltage. कैसे निकालेंगे? V is equals to V naught E minus T over tau. बेटा V minimum निकालनी है. What is the maximum? V34 E minus T का क्या वैल्यू है? 0.14. टाउ की क्या वैल्यू है? 0.67. Plug and play in the calculator. The answer comes out to be 28 volts. आगे बढ़ते हैं बेटा, सिंपली आगे बढ़ते हैं. चलो, let's move on to the next question. State Lenz's law of electromagnetic induction. क्या कहता है Lenz's law of electromagnetic induction? Induced EMF always flows in a direction so as to oppose the change causing it. लिख दो यहाँ पे. Induced EMF always flows in a direction so as to oppose the change causing it. Induced EMF हमेशा उस डायरेक्शन में जाता है so as to oppose the change causing it. Simple. A helicopter hovering in stationary equilibrium has four routers, each of length 12 meters, as shown in the view from above in figure 7.1. ठीक है भाई, ये above आपको view दिख रहा है. Okay, no problems. The vertical components of the Earth's magnetic field is this. This is your Earth's magnetic field. Perfect. The routers each rotate in horizontal plane in the direction shown with a frequency of this. This is your frequency. Calculate the magnetic flux. You have to calculate the magnetic flux. How will you do that? B into A. B क्या है बेटा? 0.047 milli Tesla 10 raised to the power of minus 3. How will you calculate the area? Radius क्या है बेटा? 12. So what will you do? Pi r square. Pi into r, that is 12 का square. What does your magnetic flux comes out to be? 0.021 Webers. You can write it here. Determine the magnitude of the electromotive force across the length of router OX. EMF किसके इक्वल होता है? N into change in magnetic flux divided by change in time. N is 1. Change in magnetic flux हम निकाल चुके हैं, 0.021 है. How will you calculate the change in time? What is the time for one rotation? Frequency was 85. Frequency was 85. Can you calculate the time for one rotation? Time period निकाल सकते हो. 1 divided by 85, 1 divided by frequency. Can you calculate the EMF as well? EMF आ जाएगा बेटा. 1.8 volts comes out to be your EMF. Use Lenz's law to explain whether end X or end O of the router is at higher potential. बेटा, this is a frequently asked question. अब ये एग्जामिनर का recent times में बहुत ही फेवरेट सवाल हो गया. You have to tell whether end O or end X is at a higher potential. How will you do that? Chalo, I think I will have to open the camera for this. 1 second. Okay, so yeah, I hope you guys can see me in the camera, bhai. Can you realize the routers are being moved in the upward direction? बेटा, आप राउटर्स पे खुद से एक अपवर्ड फोर्स लगा रहे हो, है ना? राउटर्स पे आप खुद से एक अपवर्ड फोर्स लगा रहे हो. Induced EMF will apply what? Induced EMF will apply a downward force on the routers. Take out your left hand. बेटा, अगर आप राउटर्स पे खुद से एक अपवर्ड फोर्स लगा रहे हो, बिकॉज यू आर टर्निंग द राउटर्स इन द क्लॉकवाइज डायरेक्शन, यू आर अप्लाइंग एन अपवर्ड फोर्स ऑन द राउटर्स, इंड्यूस्ड ईएमएफ एक डाउनवर्ड फोर्स लगाएगा. मैग्नेटिक फ्लक्स डेंसिटी इनटू द पेज जा रही है. सर वेयर इज दिस रिटन? मैग्नेटिक फ्लक्स डेंसिटी इज डाउनवर्ड विद द फ्लक्स डेंसिटी ऑफ दिस. तो अगर मैग्नेटिक फ्लक्स डेंसिटी डाउनवर्ड है लाइक दिस, तो इट इज गोइंग इनटू द पेज. वेयर डज योर करंट फ्लो? करंट कहां से कहां फ्लो कर रहा है? O2x. First of all, let's revise everything that we have studied up till now. बेटा आप राउटर्स पे खुद से एक अपवर्ड फोर्स लगा रहे हो. इंड्यूस्ड ईएमएफ विल प्रोड्यूस अ डाउनवर्ड फोर्स. मैग्नेटिक फ्लक्स डेंसिटी इनटू द पेज. Current flows from O to X. Let's write this down. You can say, you can say what? You can say the force due to the induced EMF causes the rotor to move in an anti-clockwise direction. और क्या कहोगे? Move in an anti-clockwise direction. Applying Fleming's left-hand rule, the current flows from O to X. Applying Fleming's left-hand rule, current flows from O to X. बेटा अब करंट O से X तो फ्लो कर रहा है, बट विच वन इज एट अ हायर पोटेंशियल? प्लीज 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 फोकस ऑन द बोर्ड. बेटा अब जो कॉमन टेम्पटेशन है ना वो सुन लो. यूजुअली बच्चों को ये टेम्पटेशन होती है कि सर दिस इज द नेगेटिव टर्मिनल, दिस इज द पॉजिटिव टर्मिनल, करंट ऑलवेज फ्लोज फ्रॉम पॉजिटिव टू नेगेटिव, है ना? करंट ऑलवेज फ्लोज फ्रॉम पॉजिटिव टू नेगेटिव. तो आप यहाँ पे कह दोगे कि अगर करंट O से X जा रहा है, O विल बी हायर पोटेंशियल, बट दैट्स रॉन्ग. दैट्स रॉन्ग. आप कह दोगे कि O इज द हायर पोटेंशियल बिकॉज करंट इज ऑलवेज फ्लोइंग फ्रॉम पॉजिटिव टू नेगेटिव. O पॉजिटिव हो जाएगा, X नेगेटिव हो जाएगा, O हायर पोटेंशियल हो जाएगा. दैट्स इनकरेक्ट बिकॉज वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट induced EMF direction. We are not talking about the direction of normal voltage or current. We are talking about the direction of induced EMF. Induced EMF is the voltage or EMF that flows inside the battery. Beta, how will the voltage flow inside the battery from the negative to the positive? If the current is flowing from negative to positive, from O to X, which one is the higher potential? X, so you can write it here. Hence, X is at a higher potential. Simple. आगे बढ़ते हैं बेटा. Oxygen is radioactive and has a half-life of 2.04 minutes. Okay. The decay of oxygen 15 produces positrons. For this region, oxygen 15 is sometimes used as a tracer in positron emission tomography. Okay, PET scanning. State what is meant by a tracer. भाई tracer का मतलब क्या होता है? Radioactive substances introduced inside the body, and these substances are absorbed by the tissues. You can say radioactive substances, radioactive substances introduced inside the body, introduced inside the body, yeah, into the body, into the body. These tracers are absorbed by what? These tracers are absorbed by what? These tracers are absorbed by the tissues. सिंपल एज दैट, नथिंग कॉम्प्लिकेटेड। आगे बढ़ते हैं। The equation for the decay of oxygen 15 is shown, okay, where X is the nuclei formed during the decay and Z is another particle, okay. State the values of the integer p, q, r and s। p, q, r और s की values हमें बतानी है। बेटा, can you realize beta positive decay हो रहा है? Whenever beta positive decay happens, mass number remains same, proton number decreases by 1, 15, 7। बीटा पॉजिटिव के अपनी मास नंबर क्या होता है? जीरो। प्रोटॉन नंबर क्या होता है? 1, 0, 1। State the name of particle Z whenever beta positive is being emitted, a neutrino is also emitted। न्यूट्रिनो। जब भी बीटा पॉजिटिव पार्टिकल इमिट होता है, न्यूट्रिनो साथ साथ इमिट होता है। दिस वाज अ पार्टिकल फिजिक्स क्वेश्चन, नॉट एन A2 फिजिक्स क्वेश्चन। दिस शुड हैव बीन इन AS। डिफाइन द एक्टिविटी ऑफ अ सैंपल। एक्टिविटी ऑफ अ सैंपल का मतलब क्या होता है? नंबर ऑफ न्यूक्लियर डिकेज या नंबर ऑफ न्यूक्लियर डिसइंटीग्रेशंस पर यूनिट टाइम। सो यू कैन राइट नंबर ऑफ न्यूक्लियर डिसइंटीग्रेशंस per unit time। Calculate the decay constant of oxygen। Do you remember decay constant is equals to ln2 over the half life। ln2 half life क्या है हमारी? 2.04 minutes। Convert it into seconds। 2.04 into 60। What does your decay constant comes out to be? Decay constant क्या आ गया बेटा? Decay constant comes out to be 5.66 10 raised to the power of minus 3। 5.66 10 raised to the power of minus 3 second minus 1। Simple। Determine the rate at which positrons are produced in the sample of oxygen 15 that has a mass of this। अच्छा जी, आपका मास ये है। यू हैव टू डिटरमाइन द रेट एट विच पॉजिट्रॉन्स आर प्रोड्यूस। यू हैव टू बेसिकली डिटरमाइन द एक्टिविटी। किस तरह डिटरमाइन करेंगे? जस्ट फोकस ऑन द बोर्ड। बेटा, हाउ मच मास ऑफ ऑक्सीजन डू यू हैव? 2.85 10 raised to the power of minus 6 kg। Now, can you calculate the mass of one molecule ऑफ ऑक्सीजन? जी सर, वन मॉलिक्यूल ऑफ ऑक्सीजन का मास आ जाएगा। मास नंबर इज 15 multiplied by the atomic mass unit 15 into 1.66 10 raised to the power of minus 27। What does the mass of one molecule of oxygen comes out to be? हाँ जी, बताओ ज़रा, क्या आंसर आ रहा है मास का? 2.49 10 raised to the power of minus 26 kg। This is the mass of one molecule of oxygen। बेटा, ऑक्सीजन के एक मॉलिक्यूल का मास ये आ रहा है। कैन यू कैलकुलेट द टोटल नंबर ऑफ ऑक्सीजन मॉलिक्यूल्स? कैन यू कैलकुलेट द टोटल नंबर n ऑफ ऑक्सीजन मॉलिक्यूल्स? हाँ जी, नंबर ऑफ ऑक्सीजन मॉलिक्यूल्स निकाल सकते हो जी सर। द टोटल मास ऑफ ऑक्सीजन, टोटल मास ऑफ O, that is what? 2.85 10 raised to the power of minus 6 divided by what? Mass of one molecule 2.49 10 raised to the power of minus 26। Can you calculate the number of molecules? निकाल सकते हैं भाई। 2.85 10 raised to the power of, this comes out to be what? 1.14 10 raised to the power of 20 molecules, correct to three significant figures। Now you have to calculate the activity। activity किस तरह निकालोगे? decay constant into n। decay constant क्या था बेटा? 5.66 10 raised to the power of minus 3। 5.66 into 10 raised to the power of minus 3 into 1.14 10 raised to the power of 20। Can you calculate the activity? activity निकाल सकते हो? The activity comes out to be what? 6.48 10 raised to the power of 17। 6.48 10 raised to the power of 17। Okay. The particles that are emitted from the body and detected outside it during PET scanning are not positrons but another type of particles। कौन से particles detect होते हैं in PET scanning? Gamma photons। Gamma photons. Explain how these particles are formed inside the body. What will you say? The positron in the body combined with electrons. Annihilation occurs. This causes the mass of proton and electron to get converted into energy of gamma ray photons. तो इसको थोड़ा सा डिटेल में लिख लो. You will say the positrons combine with electrons in the body. This causes annihilation. This causes annihilation, and what will happen once annihilation occurs? This causes annihilation, and this causes annihilation, and the mass of electron and positron is converted into energy of gamma ray photons. Simple. Nothing complicated here. आगे बढ़ते हैं. Let's further move ahead. State what is meant by photoelectric effect. Photoelectric effect का मतलब क्या होता है? Emission of electrons from the surface of a metal when electromagnetic radiations are incident on the surface. Emission of electrons from the surface. Emission of electrons from the surface of a metal. Yeah, from a metal surface when electromagnetic radiation are incident on the surface. When electromagnetic radiation are incident on the surface. Simple. The photoelectric effect is investigated using two clean metal plates. One plate is made from metal X and the other is made from metal Y. Metal X has a work function of phi. Metal Y has a work function of 2 phi. Okay. Metal X has a threshold frequency of F. भाई metal X का work function phi है, threshold frequency F है. Which expression in terms of phi and F for the threshold frequency of metal Y? बेटा हमेशा याद रखो work function is equals to HF. H is a constant. Work function is directly proportional to frequency. So if the work function of metal Y is doubled, the threshold frequency of metal Y will also be double 2F. आपका यहाँ पे आंसर हो गया. You have to calculate Planck constant. किस तरह करोगे? Phi is equals to HF. Phi over F is equals to your Planck's constant. Okay. The maximum kinetic energy of photoelectrons is determined for each of the plates in B for different frequencies of incident radiation. Okay. On figure 9.1, sketch the variation of kinetic energy with frequency of each plate. Label your line X and Y to clearly identify. Okay. First of all, X का कर लेते हैं. X has a threshold frequency of what? Capital F. Okay. So your kinetic energy at a frequency of capital F will be 0. And your work function is negative. इसको extend कर दो. Like this. Make sure that this line in the negative y-axis is dotted because there is nothing known as negative of work function. बेटा negative work function सिर्फ हम दिखाने के लिए बनाते हैं. You make it dotted here. This is your line. At a threshold frequency of F, you have a kinetic energy of 0. Let's do it for the second one as well. इसको हम लेबल कर देते हैं line X. Okay. फॉर लाइन वाई योर थ्रेशोल्ड फ्रीक्वेंसी इज टू है। बेटा थ्रेशोल्ड फ्रीक्वेंसी होती है वो फ्रीक्वेंसी एट विच द काइनेटिक एनर्जी इज जीरो। एट थ्रेशोल्ड फ्रीक्वेंसी इज द मिनिमम फ्रीक्वेंसी required to remove an electron from the surface of a metal. Threshold frequency पे आपकी kinetic energy of electrons is zero. Your work function is negative 2 phi. Can you draw a line again? बेटा लाइन ड्रॉ करने के लिए लकीली हमें सिर्फ 2 पॉइंट्स चाहिए होते हैं. You have this line. This is your y. Obviously, make this dotted again. And ये extra lines को ना remove कर दो इस तरह. Simple. This is how you will draw it. State what is meant by redshift. Redshift का मतलब क्या होता है? Increase in observed wavelength of light coming from galaxies moving away from the observer या moving away from the earth. तो यहाँ पे आप लिखोगे should we choose a pink? Yeah. Increase in observed wavelength of light coming from galaxies moving away from the observer. Simple. Explain how observations of redshift lead to the idea that the universe is expanding. Beta, distance galaxies show redshift, so galaxies are moving apart. Beta, galaxies जो हमसे दूर move कर रही हैं, they show redshift. That means they are moving apart. Galaxies are moving apart. इसका मतलब ये है कि universe is expanding. So you can say distant galaxies show a redshift. That means they are moving apart. Beta, distance galaxies show redshift. That means they are moving apart. Since galaxies are moving apart, this means the universe is expanding. Since galaxies are moving apart, this means the universe is expanding. Simple. आगे बढ़ते हैं. Explain how Hubble's law leads to the Big Bang theory of the origin of the universe. बेटा Hubble's law लीड किस तरह करता है टू द बिग बैंग थ्योरी ऑफ द यूनिवर्स. ठीक है, तो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल तो आप हबल्स लॉ को स्टेट कर दो. हाउ विल यू स्टेट हबल्स लॉ? यू विल से द स्पीड ऑफ रिसेशन ऑफ द गैलेक्सी is directly proportional to the distance of galaxies from the observer. यहाँ पे लिख दो Hubble's law states that the speed of recession of galaxy of a galaxy is directly proportional to the distance between galaxy and observer. Second point क्या लिखोगे? You will say more distant galaxies represent what? More distant galaxies represent what? Further back in time. बेटा जितना दूर गैलेक्सी होगी उतनी ज़्यादा उसकी स्पीड होगी, उतना वो बैक इन टाइम होगी. Represent further back in time. A long time ago, this is the most important statement. A long time ago, all matter in the universe must have been very close together. A long time ago, all matter in the universe must have been very close together. This marks the end of this paper. I hope you understood this. If you have any questions, you can ask in the comments below.